How do you take a few moments to describe a man of such giant stature? A gentle giant he was. Milo was born on April 19, 1968 in Miami, Arizona. He is the son of Donna and Alex Candelaria. Milo grew up in Dudleyville. He attended and graduated from Ray High School in 1986. He also received his bachelor's degree in business management from Phoenix College. Milo was not only one of the most intelligent men I knew, he was also an outstanding athlete, where he excelled in football and track. My sophomore year, I don't have this in here, but my sophomore year, we were in practice, and I was on the JV squad, and Milo was on the varsity. I think Milo, his sophomore year, weighed probably 290 pounds or maybe a little bit more. But did he show him what a sophomore could do to the seniors and juniors? Supposedly, we had one of the best running backs come down from up north. And on a defensive drill, Milo showed him what kind of player he was going to be. The coach didn't believe he did that to the number one running back in the state, supposedly. And Milo repeated the first task, he did the second task, and he did it again. And from then on, Milo was a starter on defense. He played against much bigger men than himself, because I remember back in those days, there was linemen 6'6", 6'7", that weighed over 300 pounds, and Milo held his ground. And also in track, Milo was, all he had to do was throw a stupid little still ball. And a little frisbee. But he was the smart one. He didn't have to run 10 miles at practice. And let me tell you, Milo broke records at Ray High School in track. And even when he competed in state, Milo excelled at that. I think 3 years in a row he finished second place. There was always one guy he tried to beat, but they would always combine us with bigger schools, and Milo had to compete against that too. He was employed with the Sarco Hayden Smelter, where he was a craneman in the converter aisle. I worked with maintenance, so I was very fortunate to see Milo when he was working either at 5 in the morning or during day shift. I'd always look up in the crane, and Milo was always covered in his green hood or his yellow one, whatever he had, his earmuffs, his hard hat. And you couldn't tell who it was, but he would just wave to me very nicely like this. And I knew, between us, I knew that was Jasper up in the crane. I gave Milo that nickname when the Arizona lottery first came to Arizona. That had to have been in high school, or because of that prospector Milo and Jasper. So Milo would call me T-Roy. It wasn't Troy, it was T-Roy. Milo loved riding his mountain bike, working on his house, and gardening. But most of all, Milo enjoyed spending time with his children and family. During my 7th grade years, when my friendship with Milo really took off, and by the end of our 8th grade year, I was spending all my summertime at my second house in Dudleyville. I never got to thank you, Donna, but thank you for accepting me into your family. It's the best thing that happened to me. I was very spoiled, not by having cars or stuff like that, but by having friends. I don't have one best friend or two, I have like 5. 2 of them are gone now. Very special in my heart, and I'm fortunate to have friends like that. Just like our friendships, we had good and we had bad times, but I would never change anything or any of these I was given with my brother Milo, my best friend. I thought it would be the best to share some personal stories from our friends. But before I share these stories, I would like to share some lyrics from a song that really touches my heart. Funny how the good ones go too soon, but the good Lord knows the reasons why, I guess. Sometimes a greater plan is kind of hard to understand. Right now, it doesn't make sense. I can't make it all make sense. So long, my friend, until we meet again. I'll remember you and all the times we used to. This is a story from Chris Laronia, Topher, we call him Topher. It was senior ditch day 1986. We were at Grapevine Recreation Area at Roosevelt Lake. Milo, Topher, Don Bowen, and myself thought it'd be a good idea to swim out to an island that was a few hundred yards offshore. I think it was farther than that. We were Gila River veterans, so we could swim anywhere, we thought. Fortunately for us, there was a buoy halfway to the island. As we arrived at the buoy, we were all desperately hanging on to it, kicking Milo off because he was the biggest guy. Milo didn't realize when he got on that buoy, it went underwater, so he The buoy couldn't support all four of us, so we took turns pushing and kicking each other off, laughing the whole time. Being the intelligent, soon-to-be graduate seniors that we were, we naturally thought that continuing on the island made more sense than returning to shore. We made it to the island and started waving at passing boats, hoping that someone would come over and pick us up to hitch a ride back. Well, probably after 30 minutes of looking like idiot castaways, we decided to swim back. Once again, the buoy became a lifesaver for us as we fought for turns hanging on. We eventually made it back to shore, and I don't remember which one of us was the first to say, "Man, that was stupid." Leticia Guzman Graham. I have so many great memories of us kids and how much fun we had. I remember when we put up a lemonade stand and Milo and Corey were our only customers who pretended to put money in our jar of change and drink for free. I'm telling you, Milo was very smart. We finally figured it out and they thought it was hilarious. I also love the time we were sliding down the dirt hill on a piece of lamina. Great times. We didn't have snow, but we had a lot of caliche. Donna Gersetti. Darren Palmer and I were talking about memories of the hospital. He and Milo were lab partners in Miss Judy Smith's biology class. Sandra Jordan and I sat behind him. Milo decided he would find out if the electric socket was live by sticking a metal protractor in. Guess what? It was and blew up sparking. Milo and Derek practically jumped over our lab table, scared the heck out of us. Most of all, shocked him too bad, though, because none of us could stop laughing after the initial fear. This is from Adina Keeney Cone. I was about 9 months pregnant with Jacob. Milo and I were laying on the floor in the dark watching TV. He felt something on his back and jumped up. It spooked me too. As we both got up to our feet and saw something slither across the floor, he shoved me out of the way and jumped on the couch, screaming. The gentle giant. After I got up on the couch with him, he realized it was a huge centipede, and he wanted me to kill it. We were both nudging at each other to get off the couch and kill it. He did eventually kill it, or cut its head off at least. I don't think he wanted to explain to his dad that he made me do it, which I wouldn't have. I would have waited for Alex. We've always laughed about the story because the absurdity of a big, strong man screaming like a little kid. His 9-month pregnant wife over. This is another one from Topher. Aronia. A few days before Christmas 2008, my family and I were preparing to move from Mesa to Pittsburgh. As I was loading the U-Haul, somebody suddenly began pounding on the side of the truck. It scared the heck out of me. I looked to the back of the truck and all I seen was an arm holding a bottle of Corolejo tequila. I called out, "Who is that?" And Milo sticks his head around the corner and flashes that big old grin of his. I wish I could say that. We proceeded to drink the bottle and laugh together. Milo left me 2 gifts that day, that bottle and that memory. This is from Chris Velveeta. He's a craneman. I got to work with Milo. Milo would always wear his green hood and his earmuffs. Man, he looked so goofy. But that was good old Uncle Milo. I remember a few months ago, we were running the crane together. He wasn't paying attention and ran into me and my trainee, David Carbajal. He hit us full blast. I know some of you guys don't understand, but overhead cranes, we got 3 of them and they're running this way, that way, in every direction, and it's a very stressful job. So one distraction, and those cranes do move fast. When they're moving, they move. All David and I saw was Milo disappear from the crane window. He got up so fast with his earmuffs crooked, threw his hands up, and shrugged his shoulders. This was so hilarious. David and I were laughing so hard our stomachs hurt. I told Milo, a good pilot never loses his earmuffs. And his reply was, good thing I have my Red Baron underoos on. Such a funny memory that I'll always remember, and I'm sure David will as well. This is from his sister Lorena. Milo would always come to visit me when I was in Phoenix area at the Music Educators Conference. It gave him the chance to see Jake and Sid as well. One particular visit, we were drinking at the hotel we were staying at. Milo had come over with Sydney and her friend to visit and have a few with me. Robert and my friends, Ellie, Corey, and Gilbert. We were already pretty much 3 sheets to the wind when Milo starts telling a story about a skunk problem he had at his house. He gave National Geographic details about their sleeping patterns and feeding times. He was tracking the skunk who apparently mocked him up and down the street. Everyone was completely enthralled with the story. Then Milo tells how finally caught up with the skunk. They saw eye to eye. Then he snuck up to get closer. Then he was pausing in the story and we're all waiting for him to say if he killed it or hit it or shoveled it. We all asked, then what? Very seriously says, I scared it. It fell completely apart, and that skunk hunting has been one of my favorite stories all the time. Afterward, I asked, what happened to the skunk? To which he replied, my neighbor Gladys killed it. I didn't write this story down, but I seen something special today, and it just brought back memories. His cousin Joey. My sister Bernice, she taught at Immaculate Heart School, and one day we went to visit her or take something for my mom. That's her sister, and we got the bright idea because we seen all these beautiful Mexican girls at the pool that we would tell Sister Bernice that we were planning to work for the week, and as long as you fed us, we would do anything pretty much. We were hoping to be at the pool with everybody else, but sometimes when you see something, it doesn't work out that way. Our wake-up call was at 4:30 in the morning. They fed us a big breakfast, I can't complain about that. Pile of eggs and whatever they scratched up for us. And then, boy, we got introduced to work. We worked from 5:30 in the morning till, I want to say 5 or 6 at night. And I was thinking we're going to be at the pool. And the best part about it, the girls that day when we showed up that day, they went home the day before that. So I just remember one day we were actually used to the hard work, and Sister Bernice goes, you guys can go out for a little bit. And we're like, hey, all right. So we went to a goofy golf place. I don't even know where it was. And I'm probably the bad guy that thought about it, but I decided to we would all have the putters, so we walked out with the putters in our legs. So if you can imagine 4 guys walking out of goofy golf with stiff legs like this. Everybody knew what we did. I'm pretty sure they did. That day when we got home to our guest house to go to sleep, Sister Bernice always opened the Bible and always made us pick something to read. And Joey was the lucky one that got to pick and read, and it was about stealing. So we left with a big hug and a smile. But you know what? As soon as we got on Oracle Road and headed home, we laughed all the way. And Milo was a registered organ donor, and he has helped save the lives of 5 people in need. It is our honor to know that such a giving man lives on in the lives of others and was the answer to so many prayers in need. Milo leaves behind his children, Jacob and Sydney, his fiancée Erika, Franco and her daughter Fatima, his mother Donna, his brother Xander, his sister Lorena, and their family, Robert, Sierra, Haley, and Sam, and many other aunts, uncles, and cousins, and countless friends.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.